Are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentleman of Crypto. Today is Thursday, December 12th, 2024, episode 1265. I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. ish. And today's top story is Bitcoin ETF ad spotted on China's Alipay payment app. US Bitcoin ATM operator reports data breach of 58,000 customers. Ukraine set to legalize crypto by 2025 under strict regulations. So next month, not even next month, like in a few weeks, bro. Vancouver passes motion to become a Bitcoin-friendly city, and Alabama should establish Bitcoin reserves, says state auditors. Basically, all roads lead to Bitcoin, that and more. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and take a look at these prices. And all-time high. We're staying at it now. I mean, we're not all this talk of dipping and low, and no, we still got another $20,000 to $40,000 to go before we hit our next biggest historical dip that we've ever seen. So plenty of time, plenty of growth. Again, I don't even expect it to really pump before post Christmas, post holiday season. So until then, everything is a dub. With that being said, Bitcoin's coming in at 100,000. I can't even say this word. 101,600. Yeah, it's a number. I said word. $101,735. There we go. I was stalling so the numbers can pump. You saw it happen in real time, up 2.2%. Ethereum said, wait for me. $3,985, up 5.61%. And really quick, I want to point out it is what it is. Like, I'm done fighting it, like I said. But it's funny how people are going to like tout this Ethereum pump and the stories and everything else. And it's like, it's because of Bitcoin, though. Like, knock it off. Ripple, $2.43, up 0.71%. Solana, number 5, $232, up 1.94%. Number 9, Cardano at $1.14, up 5%. Tron 10 at 30 cents, up 7.28%. Fear and Greed Index is back up to an 80. Bitcoin dominance at a 54.99, and Ethereum dominance at 13.06. So Ethereum, of course, is pumped that dominance as people see the possibility of making some more of that money back. But again, long term, you're losing out on the Bitcoin, folks. You know that. But other than that, let me get some quick shout outs and let's get this show rolling. What is going on? What up, though? Satoshi Slim, BK Crypto, Memories Mike, Bitcoin Shango, Magnolia Pelican, Eyes Ray, Time and Den, Casper Cuper, Wisdom Bars. What's going on? What up, though? So Discord update. I told you I'll have an update today for it. Nothing as of now, but tomorrow morning I'm slated to have it done. I have about 6 to 8 hours cut out for it today in the calendar. Yesterday went a little longer than I expected with some other business affairs, so wasn't able to get to it like I wanted to, but I am on it today. And hopefully we can have it going into this weekend. All right. And again, that's going to be free as well. So no worries on that. I got everybody receipts as well. So let me work that out and settle things out. Again, when the real story comes out, believe me, everything will make a lot more sense. And you all will even be like, hey, man, you a G for even hanging around. So believe me, I got you. I'm working on things. Believe me, on the back end, I had to change a lot of stuff around. I already changed it around, passwords and such. So it's just a lot going on. Let me figure this out, and I got you. All right, but top story of the day, Bitcoin ETF ad spotted on China's Alipay. I can't stop saying it like that ever since old boy did it. Alipay payment app. Some Alipay's mainland Chinese users saw ads inviting them to invest up to $137 daily in a fund with indirect exposure to a U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF in Coinbase. This is actually big news. Why is my screen like this? This is pretty big news right here. A couple of reasons. This screen's being weird today. I'm not sure what's going on with this screen. I've never seen it like this, but whatever. Because I probably have the chat up. Let me close the chat for a second. Boom. No, it's still skinny. That's weird, but whatever. What's going on with China? This is big news because, for one, China goes back and forth saying, hey, Bitcoin's banned. Bitcoin isn't banned. We like it. We don't like it. So this allows people who've always wanted to kind of jump in, but not, offending their government, to say, all right, now we can actually have this indirect exposure. Again, I don't know why you want it, but this is why you want it. This is the game. I shout out to the governments of the world. We ban it. We overregulate it. We make it hard to get. And then we say, all right, well, if you want exposure to it, now that it's 100. And remember, I told you this years ago, this is going to happen, that they will let the public get it once it was like at 100K or something. And here we are. Now they're like, all right, well, now you can get it through an ETF, right? So not only is that smart marketing toward that region, but the cost of it is great. You're talking about, hey, instead of 100,000, $137. I was just talking to somebody yesterday. Shout out to my Uber driver. Hopefully he can see the show today, or at least listen to it. But one thing is I was telling him was about, hey, like the long-term growth of where Bitcoin is going to be as far as where it's at, especially when countries and all these things start to adopt it. So just the narrative of them saying $100,000 is out of your price range isn't a real thing. Like, no, Bitcoin's going to be worth millions of dollars, people, millions. And even if you don't have it when it's worth millions, your kids can have it and it'll be worth millions, if not more than that. These countries are now saying this is going to be our gold. They're saying the US dollar, one of these dollars will equal however much of this Satoshis or Bitcoin or whatever, right? So this is what they're trying to do as far as a narrative to get you out the game. Meanwhile, they're trying to sell you an ETF for $137, which gives you a fraction of the Bitcoin or whatever, or exposure to it, all the while they're paying you back in cash. So again, makes sense from the traditional side of the house. The fix is in, but just from an actual investment point of view, or even the technology, the value point of view, is just no value from a monetary point of view, or just from a like I said, just just a product point of view. There's no reason to have an ETF. I don't see it unless you're in a country where they're saying it's illegal to do anything for Bitcoin. So that's true. Oh, and then the second thing, something I mentioned years ago, you heard it here before, was that the advertising. When I started doing sponsors and stuff, and some people, I'm like, you all might as well get over that. I'm like, the commercials, the advertising, like this is coming everywhere. So we've already seen doses of it where they've had like the likes of Curry, Tom Brady, Larry David, and some of these Mayweather do all these different crypto promotions. But this is where private projects doing that. This wasn't BlackRock doing that. People, they're in Hollywood now. Okay, they're getting SAG actors. Like, all right, let's do this real. The way you see Flo from Progressive, the Lizard from Geico, the guy from State Farm, whoever. It's only a matter, I would say, 2 to 4 years before you see a full length like person or a character, family or something to a crypto company. Don't be surprised you see like the Coinbase family or something. Like, make sure your family investments are secure, and it's like a Coinbase thing. Like, this is coming. So the fact that it's reached China now with just the ads, they're just scratching the surface. But again, this is what the market's going to blossom to, where you're talking about a multi-billion, multi-trillion-dollar market. This is how it's going to become that. You're including media and marketing and advertising along with the derivatives market. And now you have the ETFs and the ETF options as well as futures. So that's 3 different derivatives on one product already, which is absolutely amazing. Not to mention leverage trading with it also. People are going long and short all the while. So it's just in every direction. You have all types of stuff going on in this market. It's very interesting. I mean, really, it's like it's fun and scary all at the same time, because of course you're dealing with real world portfolios with real world consequences. But it's also like you can see the market slowly changing in front of you. Alipay has Bitcoin ETF advertisements. You better believe they went through the government and got an okay for that. So everyone's making money on this thing. Again, this is China's largest payment platform with more than 1 billion users, reportedly featured Bitcoin and cryptocurrency related ads for users in mainland China. Or if the government doesn't know about it, next 48 hours, we should hear about somebody catching the mean case of the flu and going under, right? Many mainland Chinese users saw promotional advertisements related to spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds on their Alipay homepages. A local news agency, Sina Finance, reported on December 12th. The advertisement promoted crypto investment, saying global investment, cryptocurrency soaring, 10 yuan minimum investment, get on board now. Oh, they all over here. Pressure buying people too. Pressure selling. This is hilarious. I'm going to drop this water on this laptop and just end my entire week right now. That's the way it goes. This is hilarious. Get on board now. The ad referred to users of, I'm about to chop this up, Howbo, Overseas Technology C, which reportedly has indirect exposure to Coinbase stock and the ARK21 shares Bitcoin ETF. Holy smokes, people, you have to understand, I am not lying to you when I say I do not read these stories first by and large. They mention Coinbase and advertisement. I'm telling you, this is how it's going to go. I didn't even read this story. I saw the headline, and I just saw the headline. I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. This is how it's going to go. Indirect exposure to Coinbase stock and the ARC 20. Yeah, I already know how it go. Somebody, look, even if it's not a person who actually works for one of these companies, for Coinbase, for ARC 21, or for Alipay or whatever is on, it could be a consultant who used to work for these companies. A guy like me who's in the military, he kind of consults from these companies. He does Bitcoin. Hey, you think you wait? You got connections with Alipay? Like, yeah, so so I served with him. I did this job with him. You think you get an ad? Yeah. Yeah, so I get the ad. Like, that's really the super indirect business stuff that's going on. But you better believe those conversations are happening. A billion customers, and all of a sudden the Bitcoin ETF ad pops up. Like I said, everybody's eating off this beat. What's the problem? Everybody eats right now. This is good stuff. But yeah, let me see. Comment. Satoshi Slim said, when you say they started deleting videos, do you mean they removed them from where we can see them, or did they delete them? So yeah, I can't even see the videos. So I was talking about the YouTube videos deleted yesterday. No, I cannot even see them. They deleted for me as well. They was like, you want to protest it and see what they put, like, say, for example, they said at the 30-minute mark, there's a problem. And then it's like, well, how can I see the problem if you deleted it? So yeah, it's one of those things. But back to the story. They're going to say it's $140 daily purchase limit. Makes sense because, again, the Chinese government isn't going to let that capital flight happen in mass, but I'm sure they're okay with just getting their beak wet and getting a taste of a little project. So they're saying, hey, we're not going to let our citizens become wealthy over this and overtake us, or even move all their money out into the ETF, move to another country that can protect them from us, and then pull their money out in that country. Like, they're not going to let that happen, but they do want to give their country folks some exposure. That way, all these people like Alipay can eat. You can satisfy the Coinbase and the U.S. governments around the world. Everyone's eating off it. That's all that's happening. But again, the cool part about it, I thought, wasn't just the ETF ad. That, of course, is good. You're exposing the ETFs to a new market, and as long as they keep buying Bitcoin to back the ETFs, right? You just open yourself up to a new billion-person market, a billion people with Alipay. As long as they use Bitcoin to back the ETFs, then yes, we should. I mean, easily that's $115,000 Bitcoin right there, just off of, I would say, 2/4 of these ads. That's super conservative. 6 months of saying $145, $140 gives you exposure to Bitcoin for an app of a billion people. What's the 3% margin rate on, or 3% return rate on that? Like, do I need to do the math here? You only want 3% back. That's a good number. So 3% of a billion people going in at $140. The price of Bitcoin is already at 115K if they run these ads for 6 months. So we're good to go on that. This is where we're going to see the super bull cycle next year, I think. But then where it'll get interesting is, again, once we have that retracement and dip, will they continue running the ads? Will people keep buying at the same rate? Will the retail market get scared? So on and so forth. Will you see repeat buyers? Will you see people who just get some exposure, right? That's where it'll kind of get interesting. But for sure, this is going to be a big thing to have these type of ads on Alipay. All right, next up, what do we have going on? Oh no, yes, is this one? US Bitcoin ATM operator, oh man, reports data breach of 58,000 customers. This is probably the most ironic story out there. It also shows why the overregulation, really any formal regulation, but the overregulation of this market does not actually protect investors. It harms you. This is a good example. So let's get into a story. I'm gonna get a story quickly and I'll highlight why this is a great example of why regulation and trying to protect us in this market is actually bad. Byte Federal, operator of 1,300 Bitcoin ATMs in the United States, urges customers to reset login credentials following a massive data breach. And again, that's if you actually saw the message. What if you're on holiday right now? Where if you're on vacation, right? You're doing your spelunking trip. You're in a cave somewhere. You don't get service, huh? What's going on? Byte Federal, one of the biggest ATM operators in the United States, suffered a major data breach that potentially affected 58,000 customers. The very thing Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain technology is in general, especially Bitcoin is blockchain, does, like, it rids itself of this. This is the very thing it does. Is its strengths. This is the very strength that it has. These, that is not centralized, that you won't have these data breaches, these decentralization ethos and actual real pragmatic use. But on December 12th, Florida-based Byte Federal submitted a filing with Maine's Attorney General report. And this is, again, overregulation. Why? A Florida-based Byte submitted a federal filing with Maine's, Florida to Maine. Overregulation, reporting a security breach resulting in unauthorized access to his client's personal data. Byte Federal said it had discovered the attack on November 18th, more than 30 days after it occurred on September 30th, with a bad actor exploiting a vulnerability in software provided by a third party. Something I've highlighted before, and I want to highlight again, is that funny. This is, oh man, I'll have some stories to tell you all. Essentially, when hackers get into your system, the smart ones at least, they're not gonna like, they might sit there for 2 weeks, especially, you know how much information your systems have. It's troves of information to go through. I know this from experience, like whether it's like friendly hacking stuff or contests or learning this stuff. It's like you start to get into stuff and you're training. It's like, man, it's like so many thousand photos, like it'll be all day. So yeah, they could be in your system for 2 or 3 weeks before the event actually takes place, the hack takes place. It could they could hack it early on and hide it in a way that you won't even notice, and say maybe until you get a quarterly report and realize, like, just now, actually, speaking of which, I'm on the back end doing stuff, haven't looked at website metrics in a while. And I still haven't even done my deep dive on this because it's not that important. But for whatever reason, my web page a few days ago spiked and had like 10,000 views like in one day or whatever, which doesn't happen because why is there a reason to go to the web page? There's no action or nothing going on there, right? So that's just one of those things where it's like, okay, like you can actually see this data and see what's going on. So this is a very similar thing when you're getting hacked. So it's very interesting that they say, hey, we discovered this on November 18th, but this is 30 days after it happened is when they found out about it. Doesn't even say how long they were actually in the system for. They could have been in the system for 60, 90 days or more. So very complex. After detecting the incident, the Bitcoin ATM operator immediately shut down his platform and assured customers that no user assets or funds have been compromised. Again, may be true, but this is a PII, personal identifiable information type of hack and leak, along with the assets that the actual client Byte has. So you're talking about passwords, usernames. A lot of people are lazy. They reuse the same ones. So they could have access to your actual, like, hey, we got this person's name, real name. We got their username, password. Let's try this on a bank account. Let's try it on this is what they do. And it actually works. Let's see. Yep. 58,000 customers had their personal data potentially exposed. In the filing, Byte Federal said that the bad actor attempted to gain unauthorized access to the personal information of as many as 58,000 customers, including 111 Maine residents. Okay, so that's why they're reaching out to Maine to let them know, hey, y'all, folks, the potentially exposed data included names, dates of birth, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, government issue IDs, whoo, my goodness, social security numbers, transaction activity, and photographs of users. Oh my goodness. See, I already knew where you're going with this because this is how it is for every hack in this space. Byte said, nonetheless, we are taking precautionary measures to ensure the security of your data and to help alleviate any concerns you may have. Yeah, I guess some big concerns. So I figured this would go there with the PII because this is how it usually is, why they get concerned. Because if it wasn't that, the story would only read essentially, hey, not only were we hacked, but a lot of users' funds got hacked. But that wasn't what the story was reading. They're talking about the data breach of the actual customers, not of customer funds and assets. Usually they have the big number, $1 million gone, 50,000 Bitcoin, but they're talking customer specific. So that was the first clue. But here's the deal. All this stuff, and the reason why they have to reach out to Maine, the included names, dates of birth, addresses, social security numbers, photographs of users, like this is all because of over-regulation and regulation in general. It's the government saying, hey, yeah, we're going to protect our users by making sure private companies collect all this data. The real reason why is because the government wants to know who's spending what and how so they can tax you or come get the money. They want to take the money. They want to know how much you're spending so they come take their whatever. But the problem is that you force companies to do this without any standard of cybersecurity in our country. We don't have a standardized cybersecurity. Every company must abide by this, and not even abide by it. Help them get there. I wouldn't even want to see on a Monday saying, yes, every company must have a cybersecurity team. And it's like, well, I have no way of paying for this. I have no way of knowing who to hire. I have no way of getting there. So without that being there, it's so irresponsible to say collect social security numbers, photographs, and all this other stuff. And this is just, again, a treasure trove for a hacker. Bitcoin ATMs don't have to be like this, nor do they want to be like this. This is regulators forcing this. Bitcoin ATMs, when they began, as they should be, if anything, you just need an email address, a dump email address. If anything, some of them were kind of operating where you didn't even need an email address. You could use like your phone or like a paper Bitcoin, a wallet, and all this other stuff. So there's like literally no technological reason why you need to put social security numbers and photographs and all these other things. It is supposed to be pseudonymous. It's supposed to be peer-to-peer. But since the government can't get their cut or control it, they want to say, no, we're going to add barriers to entry. All those things I just said to use a Bitcoin ATM makes it essentially illegal or unable for like someone like a homeless person to use it. So you're essentially, once again, saying a homeless person doesn't deserve to bank, when the reality is like they don't even need any information to use a Bitcoin ATM. That on top of the worst and the most egregious thing is that they have what is this right next to it? Transaction activity. Oh man, this is really about to happen. The hacker's about to put all this data in a CSV, and yeah, accounts or whatever over 50K. Let's start over 50K. But still a bunch of them, let's go over 100K. Or if it's less, all right, let's go 15K. They're just about to separate, like it's going to be block to block of email addresses and usernames of who has the most money, less money, whatever. And they're just about to run the same script. Social engineering attacks across the board, calling banks. Each person is going to get hit one by one, phishing attacks so they can make it faster. They're about to try to hit everybody. So yes, if you ever use a Byte ATM and signed up for it, make sure you change all your passwords in places if they have the similar or same one. And of course, be on the lookout for phishing attacks because it could come as like, hey, this is Byte ATM. This is Coinbase. We know, if somebody's in crypto, they'll send you a phishing email from every crypto company out there just to see which ones you've been working with, right? Click here if you need your whatever BitConnect refund. You're like, wait, was I in BitConnect? You weren't even in BitConnect. Be like, was I in it? Let me get this refund real quick. So you got to be careful with it. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Alex said 100% zero accountability or regulation when companies get repeatedly hacked and are careless with sensitive user data. Looking at you, T-Mobile. Man, it is so much worse in Hollywood. Oh my goodness. People, you understand, Hollywood got a bunch of old school stuff. They still writing checks to people, okay? I don't even think Bank of America accept them anymore. Hollywood's old school. And yes, they collect because once it's literally the same thing. The government says, hey, for tax purposes, IRS purposes, and everything, they're saying every Hollywood project. And of course, some of these projects want to be like, oh, we have to do our books. And so it's like, man, look, y'all over this ragtag group of stuff, man. But whatever. They're like, we have to keep our books and accounting correct for the government, whatever, understandable, and understandably as well. But then they're doing the same thing. They collect your social security number, name, address, everything else. And I've been saying it since I came to Hollywood. I was like, yo, y'all are wow. We like, you want me to send this to you in an email? Like, yeah, they're like, yeah, just email me your social security number. We'll get that figured out. So this is how it works everywhere through Hollywood. Honestly, once again, I am a victim of being a great human being because I've seen the way to hack so many companies out here. I'm telling you, it would take 3 to 4 to 5 hours max to get like a treasure trove of information. And as I kept telling people this, and as I always push back against it, it actually happened last year, about a year and a half ago. A company reached out to me, a big project or a company out here. Sorry, we got hacked. All our stuff, your user data, we can offer you 1 free year of what is it, like ID protection or whatever you call it when they look over all your stuff. In my head, I'm like, they're just gonna offer you 1 free year of something you probably already paid for, or Equifax is already giving you the last few years because the hack happened there. It was laughable. But in true California fashion, this is why I talk about people when I talk about these random lawsuits. They came back like a few months ago. Some company was like, hey, were you a part of the? I'm like, yeah, I was. I'm not actually happy with what happened. They're like, well, join on in with the rest of the people. We knew y'all was out there. Boom. Now you have a lawsuit against this same company. But again, I don't even blame this company or the project because they didn't come to Hollywood to learn cybersecurity or accounting or any of that. They came to shoot commercials and movies and TV shows, right? And now the government's saying for IRS purposes, you all need to figure out these people's social security numbers and all this other stuff, but there are no metrics or standards of cybersecurity. So it's one of those things that we're seeing it across markets. But and I don't see it stopping anytime soon, because stopping that will stop the flow of government money, which whoever these faceless, nameless, shadowy leaders are don't want to happen. It won't happen. But yeah, that's the unfortunate part. All right, last but not least, I'm going to end on some good news stories. I had to be quick because I actually have a meeting in 2 minutes. Man, I'm back to back to back to back. Okay, I'm telling you, back to back to back to back to back. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, them little YNs, boy, they crazy out here. Ukraine set to legalize crypto by 2025 under strict regulations. That is right. Ukraine plans to legalize cryptocurrencies by early 2025, applying standard taxation rules without offering tax incentives. I'll tell you why. Because Uncle Sam put all our money over there, and now we need crypto to get the booming so we can make a real life, in live person Bitcoin mixer. That's all Ukraine's about to be. Supposed to be finalized, this bill, I'm saying, in 2025 in coordination with the National Bank of Ukraine and the International Monetary Fund. Listen, all right, I'm not joking. This is about to be a big mixer. All right, it aims to regulate digital assets while ensuring fiscal oversight. I'm not about to even listen. Ukraine, crypto's coming soon. Of course, it'll be crypto too. I love it. I love it. Right after we gave them all that money. Next up, Vancouver said, "Hey, we want in." They passes a motion to they pass this motion. Hilarious. Vancouver passes a motion to become a Bitcoin-friendly city. 6 councilors supported the motion, while 2 opposed it over concerns about the potential use of digital assets and illicit activities and environment impacts on the environment. They're still pushing that argument. But again, this is the Vancouver City Council greenlit a motion to explore integrating Bitcoin into its financial operations, including a possible Bitcoin reserve and payments option. You can read more on Cointelegraph, but once again, this are like, and the reason why we don't need to spend time on these stories, not only because I'm out of time, but because you're going to see hundreds of these, every state, city, country, nation, region, everywhere around the world will be having the same story. So and so, so and so, so and so. Here we have Alabama says they should establish Bitcoin reserve. Says the state auditor, the person a part of the money. An official in the U.S. state of Alabama produced a litany of benefits a state Bitcoin reserve could bring. And again, this is a state auditor. Can't go into details, but shout out to Auditor Andrew Sorrell for expressing that support. But what I will say is a state auditor definitely has some power. Think of it this way. If you can make the guy who's about to be all in your money business happy, when you want to do it, I think so. All right. Anything? I was reading the comments. My bad. Other than that, that's the show. Jake said, if you have data, it is already exposed. Nobody is hiding anything for real, for real. Yes and no. You still can if you're intentional with it. Like I'm buying a Linux or I'm buying an aftermarket or off-market laptop with cash from somewhere, and then I'm starting that environment from scratch immediately at that moment. Like I'm not using my home internet, right? Like, like from the jump, I'm just going to be, yeah. So there are ways, but you're right. If you're not super intentional with it, you're already on the grid. And I'm officially a minute late for the next thing. You all have a great day. Smash